Stop doing it. Phil and Will are back. We have gotten through. Oh my God, we've gotten through a quarter of the cast of Survivor Second Chance. A quarter of them are gone now. We're down to 15 people. Tonight we had one of the weirdest edited blindsides of all time because this was actually a hashtag blindside completely. Monica had no idea it was coming, but my God, could they give Wigglesworth some screen time?
Right. I mean, Monica was blindsided. The audience was not at all. I mean, I don't know how many people really pay attention to editing and stuff. I know that since we've started podcasting and pretty much since, going on the internet and reading articles, you just get way more into it and you can forecast who's going home pretty easily if the editors goof up like this. And this was just so obvious. I mean, they built up Spencer and they built up Monica, getting a fair amount of screen time. And then at the end, it came down to Kelly or Monica. So you're like, well, it has to be Monica then because, like you said, no confessionals from Kelly Wigglesworth this week. Just bizarre editing.
Yeah, I really didn't understand it. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, okay, so Wigglesworth is clearly not going anywhere because they wouldn't get rid of the only, as one of our subscribers called it, the mascot of season 31. I mean, they're not going to get rid of her without giving her any confessionals. That would just be so random and so weird. And Spencer's name didn't even come up. So when it was like Kelly, Spencer, and then Monica votes Kelly, it's like the other three are just going to vote Monica, and they took all the drama out of it. But it still was funny to see Monica's face when she was going. I mean, she had zero idea. I mean, she had no clue it was coming at all.
And maybe that's what the editors were trying to do. I'm not sure. Maybe it's like we all know Monica. We're all in on the joke, and we get to watch Monica just kind of fall on her face and watch the whole thing unfold. So it's more anticipation instead of mystery. I do like it way more though when it's like I have no idea who's going home and I'm like on the edge of my seat. This was like, okay, Monica's going. I guess I'll just watch it happen. It was fun to watch, but they could have done a lot more with this blindsided. I feel like they wasted an opportunity here.
Well, it could have been one of those heart-stopping blindsides where you're like, where the audience goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened," and we're also getting to watch Monica like walk her way off, like so upset that this just happened. I mean, she was robbed here. Like, I mean, I don't think she was really going to flip on the Bion 4. She just played too hard once again. And you open your mouth to the biggest mouth person in Survivor, which is Kimmy. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, did you not watch Australia way back when?
Yeah, I think Monica's problem here is that she had this girls' alliance idea in her head. And if she approaches maybe Cass with this idea or Sierra or Tasha maybe, they might be open to it, but Kimmy just didn't like Monica at all. Like there was nothing Monica could do about that with the whole clam situation. I mean, it just once Monica brought that up, she had no chance. If you're the editor here, don't you want to give Kelly Wigglesworth a good amount of airtime? At least maybe 2 confessionals or 3 at the very least, and then make it between Kelly and Monica. You don't need to build Spencer up as much. Isn't that what you do?
Yeah, because the whole thing here was that the Bion 3 never brought in Spencer. So when Spencer writes down Kelly's name, you're sitting there going, oh, God, I guess they never went and talked to Spencer. They're not going to have 4 votes, so Monica's okay. They're just going to get rid of Kelly. It's going to be a 5-1 vote. So if they give Kelly any screen time, we know that. But the fact that she was completely invisible almost the entire episode, it's like she's not going anywhere. Like we know she's not going anywhere, and everything else is just housekeeping at that point. So,
Yeah, I mean, even with Spencer writing Kelly's name down, I knew it was Monica. They weren't going to spill the beans to Spencer on that, especially on this first time going to tribal council.
What I'm saying is if they give Wigglesworth some screen time, you're sitting there when Spencer writes down Kelly going, it probably is going to be Kelly. That's what I was saying right there.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If Kelly was in the picture at all, or even in these past episodes, I mean, this is Kelly's 3rd episode in a row without a confessional. It's you could foresee it from before we even got to tribal, which is always a bummer. But yeah, let's get into this episode.
All right, well, before we do that, we have a couple housekeeping things to do. I know Willie was bringing up a Q&A type deal that we could probably do on here.
Yeah, so we're going to read comments through YouTube as we always do. But if you go, I think on Google+, there's
some of you are watching live anyway. I don't know if you're watching live on here or on YouTube.
Right. So on Google+, there's like a question and answers app, and we can see the questions. I'm pretty sure we can put them on screen. So if you can figure out how to do that, great. We're open to using that. We've seen it on, a couple other videos. That's plus.google.com/ the actual plus sign Phil and Will. So if you want to go to Google Plus and figure out how to use the question and answers thing, we're glad to use it. Put the questions up on screen. Everybody can read them, and we don't have to mispronounce things and correct people's grammar and all that stuff.
And if you know how to do it, we really don't. We're new to it. I mean, we tried it once and it completely failed. Another quick thing. If you haven't subscribed, if you could help us out and give us like a quick subscription. We've been getting close to 1,000, maybe a little over 1,000 views on pretty much all our videos. We have like about 450 subscribers. If you're listening anyway, it's really easy to do. All you have to do is go in and click, click subscribe. Like, it's so easy. I've done it on accident to like so many people. So
yeah, and if you like our videos, you like us, want to support us, it helps us out. That'd be great. Just hit subscribe.
Yeah, and even if you don't like us, just click it. Like, just do it.
Yeah, even if you don't like Survivor and you're just watching this by complete accident, just hit the subscribe button. It really, it's not that hard to do. And then,
go ahead.
And then we're gonna do like the 5-5-5. It's not really a game, but we're gonna do 5 contenders, 5 people who are still in the hunt, and then 5 people who are out because we're down to 15 castaways.
Yeah, we figure since we're a quarter way in, that'll be like something that we can kind of put in towards the end here a little bit. So there you go, everybody. I think one of the people had tweeted, if you want something not commercial at all, go watch Phil and Will. We just plugged ourselves there. If you could subscribe, that's great. We're going to get into the episode now. We'll take it from, from the beginning here, where we start off with Anchor and Woo making promises to Abby again that, God, Abby just can't eat up.
Yeah, I mean, starting with Anchor was a little bit scary, again, because this is like, and I know they went to tribal and everything, and you kind of have to see it, but I'm super glad we got the Tasha and Savage scene. They're kind of celebrating like, wow, we started from the bottom on this tribe, and now we're here. They got all the power. So it was good to see them kind of celebrate. I do like those characters, but we got to the Bion Beach very fast this episode. So there was hints right away that Bion was headed to Tribal Council.
Yeah, and it all revolves around Monica and Kimmy, which we kind of figured from the preview it seemed like it was going to be. Kimmy's finding clams. It's actually kind of funny here. Here go these women who are like alpha women going out and getting the food, and Steven, Spencer, and Jeremy are back doing whatever they're doing. I know later Spencer and Jeremy go and fish, but still this is kind of funny. I mean, it's very Wigglesworth and very Kimmy, I feel like, because like they are as old school as it gets. And I mean, that is what the old school players were doing back in the early seasons. I mean, go look at some of these, like the first 10 seasons, the women on those seasons, you don't see them really anymore on the show, except for maybe Shambo, but even that was season 19. That was 12 seasons ago now. So this was kind of cool. Monica's mad that Kimmy's taking all the clams. It's a good role reversal, because in Australia, Kimmy was mad about the chickens, and now here's Monica getting mad at Kimmy about the clams.
Yeah, this was just weird. I mean, what was Monica's argument here? It didn't make much sense to me. I mean, Kimmy's got these huge clams, and clams are good. If you're out there, I mean, that is a lot of meat in there. You can cook them very easily. I don't see – I mean, was she really saying the ocean is going to run out of clams? I mean, it made such little sense. Can you explain this to me? I'm very confused.
I think her argument was in that area, because the clams move, if you start taking from there, there's not going to be any close to shore. I mean, I honestly don't know. That's what I think she was getting at. But it's 2 clams or 3 clams, like Kimmy was saying. Like, it's not many at all. And opposed to that, you'd be eating like a little crab, which it looked like Wigglesworth caught. Like, there's really not much to eat. So take the clams and hope that you're not going to be there for 27 days. If you are, Jeff's not going to let you starve. We've seen it in the past. He gives you stuff. So
yeah. After watching San Juan del Sur, it's like you can pretty much just get any food you want. You just trade in a reward or something, and you'll get extra food. But I guess the weirdest thing about this was, or the best part was Monica's kind of sayonara quote. Like, she says, I'm not looking at the game now or short term. I'm looking ahead to be here a while. She's, talking about the end game and like, what if we're here day 39? I mean, not that the clam argument made any sense, but it was clear that she was looking so far ahead, and that's what ended up being her downfall. She ended up saying, let's just keep the girls around. Not that we should turn on the original Bion 4, but that we should consider maybe offing Spencer just to keep the female numbers up. It's actually not that crazy. She's not playing that hard, but that's her downfall, just looking too far ahead when she did not need to.
Yeah, and I think that's like a smart move on her part because, I mean, although in this season it has been very even with guys and girls. I mean, we've had 2 guys go, we've had 2 girls go, now 3 girls go. But I don't know. I feel like Monica, once again, I have no problem if somebody's going to get voted out for playing too hard. So more power to Monica. She didn't come out and be a dud, which is always good. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really – the editors were toying with us this whole night and really setting up a big Monica blindside, which a lot of people had predicted. But at least we'd seen some of Monica before this. But this was the she gets nothing, and then, boom, here's a breakout episode, and she goes home.
See, and I know people are saying nothing. I think she only went one episode without a confessional. She had one in the premiere. She had one episode 3, had one episode 4. So it's not like she got nothing. If Kelly Wigglesworth had gone home tonight, that would have been, nothing.
Yeah, that would have been pretty shocking. No, I mean, I thought Monica was pretty relevant during this season, and had she not gone tonight in our little 5-5-5 game, she probably would have been in my maybe category because she was actually playing the game. And a lot of times what you end up seeing here is like somebody like Kelly Wentworth in a very good position to win the game. Even when there's not a lot happening around her, she gets her one random confessional. And that's like the key, I think. And that's what they were kind of doing with Monica. She goes home here instead of making it further. I think Monica still ends up with a pretty good showing. It's always good when you go out playing too hard, although, God, everybody needs to just take the Sandra and Suri route of anybody but me because that is the best strategy in Survivor, especially when you come back for a returning season.
It really is the best strategy, and it's especially good early on when you're still in the tribe stages. And there's still 3 tribes left. So it's so easy for Monica to say, Kelly, gun to my head, Kelly, yeah, okay, let's stick with that. I mean, that's so easy. I will say, though, if she had maybe brought this up to see, like if Sierra ended up being on that Bion tribe instead of Kimmy, this might have worked very well for her. So it's kind of like results-based saying that, it was a terrible move to bring up an all-female alliance. I mean, I'm not saying it was a good move by any means, but it makes it look really bad because it's single-handedly what got her kicked out of the game.
Well, and it's like I said earlier, it's because she said it to Kimmy. You say it to anybody but Kimmy, you're okay probably. But Kimmy is very emotional. I mean, we saw that in her first season. She's very emotional. She can't help it. And when things don't go her way, she gets mad and she likes to vent. I mean, that's just the type of person she is. And she went right over to Steven and Jeremy later in this episode and vented right to him. And that was the end of Monica. As soon as that happened, it was like, Wigglesworth is completely safe. Spencer is completely safe. Monica, you're gone. And it was amazing how little Monica saw that coming. It really was.
That's what was so fun to see at Tribal because we knew what was happening. It was just like waiting. Okay, these votes are coming. How is she going to react to this? I guess we'll get through, we'll get all the way to the end of the episode. We did see a good amount from all the tribes tonight, before each challenge. So that was at least nice to see.
Yeah, we finally got some Takeo and we got some Keith. Everybody, it's great when Keith's on your TV. Terry was the one who ended up being left out of this 5-person alliance, which was great because it was Terry talking about how great it was to be living at Takeo and how he was completely set. He was going all the way, and they're sitting back on the beach going, all right, it's the 5 of us. Terry's done. And I really think that alliance has potential for a lot of reasons, and one of the main reasons is they are all from within 3 seasons of each other. Or from 4 seasons. It's 27, 28, 29, and 30. And they've all played like the same game. They all probably know each other before this. They might not have come into the game wanting to play together, but this is an alliance that I could see working really, really well going deeper into the game.
I don't know. I mean, this alliance would be awesome. I mean, if you look at everybody in it, you have like the challenge beast Joe, you have the funny guy Keith, you have 2 awesome villains in Cass and Sierra, and then you have Kelly Wentworth, who seems to be getting a really positive winners at it. So it's a lot going on in that alliance, and I think that's its problem. I mean, these 5, let's say somehow they get to a point in the merge where it's them 5 versus a group of 4. I just can't see them voting together that many times in a row. I mean, you're going to want to take out Joe. You're going to want to maybe knock out Cass because she is so crazy. I mean, that's my problem with this alliance. It'll be fun to see.
I don't see it running the table. I just think that it is it has a lot of upside, that alliance does. I'm not saying it's going to win the game, but I think it has a lot of upside. And the problem with this alliance is there's too many strategists. And then there's a wild card, which is Keith. You have Sierra.
And Cass, and they're all
That's
wild cards. Yeah.
Sierra, Cass, and Kelly Wentworth are huge strategists. I mean, Sierra is probably the best strategic female. Cass is a very good strategic female. And Kelly Wentworth is showing that she's a very good strategic female. And then you've got Joe, who tonight actually showed a little strategy, and supposedly during the Hero Challenge, I forget who said this. I'm not sure if it was one of our comments. Sorry if it is. I don't remember who it was. But they said that somebody said that Joe put Terry out there to show that Terry was still a huge threat and could still be a huge threat come merge time. So supposedly Joe said, no, let Terry do it. So Joe might actually be playing a little strategic game here.
He is. He had a great confessional about it. He said, and this is the, quintessential confessional of this season. These very words, I'm playing better than I did last time. I'm changing this. I'm doing this differently. And Joe said that. Keith said that. I think Kelly Wentworth didn't say it, but she clearly is playing differently. So it was nice to see strategy from Joe and Keith in the 1 minute. It was great.
Yeah, and we heard from, I think, everybody, but we didn't hear from Cass and we didn't hear from Sierra, but it was Sierra was trying to head that alliance. I mean, she really was pushing that alliance. And, this was really good to see. Kelly Wentworth saying, good, I wanted Terry out anyway. And I kind of like that Joe is starting to show a little something here. And we'll get into this later, but then you got somebody like Joe. I wasn't a fan of his first season. I thought he was just there. He was good looking. He wins the challenges. He likes the game, but he's not that smart at it. And somebody like Wu, who completely did not play his first time, and now he's playing. I thought tonight's episode for Wu, I think he was MVP worthy. People might think I'm crazy for saying that. I thought he had one of the best episodes here. And somebody like Wu and Joe, I'm happy to see that they're really out there and they're really thinking about, man, I need to win this game. I'm really happy to see this year.
Yeah, and what's nice to see about these guys is, we haven't seen a lot of Joe this season, but if he's thinking like this now, he probably had this mindset since day one. So I think we're just seeing it for the first time. From the edit, it appears that Joe was actually the one to say, look, guys, what are we doing come merge time? Let's make a final five. He says very, bluntly, look, last time they wanted to vote me out, so I really want to get a locked-in five. Everyone was like, yeah, okay, sure. I don't want to vote you out.
His problem going into the merge last season is he only had Haley and Jen. And I guess Shireen, but at that point they were so far down in the numbers, he's realizing, if I don't have the numbers, I'm going as soon as we hit the merge. And he said it at the beginning of the season, and I think this is very telling of how far Joe makes it in the game. He said at the beginning of the season he wants to make the family visit because last time he didn't do it and he felt like he failed because he wanted his dad to come out there. And I feel like Joe is going to make the family visit in this game. I really think he's going to make it that deep. And I think they're setting him up nicely right now to make a really deep run in this game, which honestly shocks me because I can't believe Joe is going to make the merge.
Yeah, it really looks that way, especially because he's on Takeo and it doesn't seem like they're losing. Let's talk about this reward challenge. We don't need to talk a lot about it. I guess there's a couple funny things that happened. Keith was the star. He's so good with these ball challenges. It's incredible. I do have him as my prop bet person to win an immunity challenge down the road, so I hope he does that. He grabs Kelly's butt, kind of in the barrel. That was a interesting move by Keith there. And it was interesting to see Bayon lose. And this is the second reward challenge they lost in a row, and it kind of got you thinking, okay, I really think they're going to go to tribal.
Yeah, because we're seeing that the Takeo tribe is seriously unbeatable. It really is. They dominate these challenges, and even tonight when they didn't win the immunity challenge, it really looked like they were never going to beat Bayon, or Bayon was never going to beat them. The only reason Angkor won as fast as they did is because Steven hits their freaking target. So, it's really interesting to sit here and watch this reward challenge where it's just roll the balls up there, and Jeremy just could not do it, and he went on for so long. It's just Spencer comes in, hits 3 in a row. Jeff said Spencer hit 3 in a row.
I was going to say, was that an editing trick there? Because that was pretty impressive. It was kind of just boom, 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 Spencer, and they're right back in it. He says 4 across the board. It was an exciting challenge. It was only reward. I wish that would have been the immunity challenge.
Yeah, so do I. That was more exciting than the immunity challenge. The immunity challenge, if they would have flopped places, would have worked out better. The immunity challenge didn't have so much excitement in it because there wasn't so much to the immunity challenge, which I guess we'll get into that when we actually get there. But there was a lot to this challenge.
Right. I mean, seeing like a ball roll over a hole and bounce out, and like you're like, oh, you got to watch it. Seeing like a beanbag tossed from 50 yards away at this big yellow square, and you can't really tell if it hits it until a flag goes up. It's just not as fun to watch. The ball challenges are great, and again, I mean, Keith is just an animal at these things.
Yeah, and it was. I think that this was also another thing here is Takeo sits out Terry and Cass, who they assume we got a physical guy and we got a puzzle guy. Who did Bayan sit out?
They sat out Kimmy and Steven.
Kimmy and Steven. What confused me with Bayan this episode is they sit out Jeremy, and I get like they probably don't need him for that type of challenge. But at the same time, Jeremy is your most athletic person on your tribe. And like the way they did it almost seems backwards, where it was like, we're going to go for this challenge and we're not going to worry about the immunity challenge so much. Like it was very weird to me that to see Jeremy sitting out of one, and then in this one you just have Steven and Kimmy sitting out, where Kimmy might be good at puzzles, but she's definitely not a physical asset. And neither really is Steven in terms of physical. I mean, he's okay, he's fine at puzzles, but in terms of physical, he's really not.
Yeah, if I'm Bayan this position, I probably sit out from the reward challenge. I probably sit out Wigglesworth and Steven, and then the immunity challenge, you sit out
Kimmy and Monica.
Yeah, Kimmy and Monica.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's easy. Like, because didn't they even on they set out Sierra and Wentworth for Takeo, which was smart. I mean, yeah, they probably could have done that challenge, but clearly there was a lot of launching involved in those immunity challenges, and would Sierra have been able to do it, pick it up as quickly as Keith did? I mean, Keith picked that up in 3 seconds. Joe picked it up right away. I mean, I don't feel like Bayan strategized well this game, which really led to maybe a mistake in this game with Bayan voting out Monica first before Spencer or Wigglesworth.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too, the decision once we get down there. After the challenge, that's when that final five was kind of formed. And then we get a good bit of encore. I thought this was pretty funny. This whole bit with Wu really sharing a really serious story about his mother. They get the second chance theme in there nicely, and then Abby, I don't even know what she started talking about. Like she had a body part removed or something, and like comparing that to a parent dying. I mean, it was kind of like, man, is Abby? It's like this was the perfect amount of Abby tonight. This is what I want to see. Not the whole season, but a few more episodes. Don't you agree that this was just like perfect Abby level?
Yes, and this is exactly what we talked about in our predictions episode. We said if they don't win and we get a lot of Abby, it's going to be a terrible episode. But they didn't win. We got a even amount from all the tribes, and we saw enough of Abby where it was like, okay, that was annoying, but fine, this is good. We got to see a lot of Wu and a lot of Tasha reacting to it. Savage was nowhere to be found tonight, which I was really surprised at. You would have thought that he would have been like, I'm so happy we won the immunity challenge, or I'm so happy like that Varner's gone. Like you thought that you would have gotten some sort of reaction from him. It seems like Tasha is the narrator on this tribe now. But I mean, Abby just ignorant with the whole Wu's mom thing. I mean, I just didn't. That's just her not. I just don't think she grasped what Wu was actually trying to say there. And I mean, when she said, "Oh, I have a tendon in my knee that's different," it's like, yeah, that's exactly the same as his mom's heart like completely stopping. When she was talking about her aunt and stuff, it's like, okay, that makes more sense. You can compare it to that. And I get you didn't want to share your story, but Wu shared his. But like the knee thing, like what are you talking about?
Right. And she goes up to Tasha like, "What? You want me to just start telling you all my sad stories?" Like it made me laugh out loud. I mean, it was just like, I mean, if you want to, I guess you can share that. But it was, I mean, it was very organic that he's like out here for his mom, and that like it meant a lot to him, and especially that they won that reward challenge and everything. And then I think then we get Tasha saying pretty much that if they go to tribal council again, it's 100% Abby and not Wu.
Is that 100%. What she said? Because I thought she was saying,
in so many words.
Yeah, I thought she was saying, I don't really want to work with Abby, but do I get rid of her? Do I get rid of Wu? I mean, I thought it was a little wishy-washy, but I do think that Abby would be the one to go before Wu. But I hope, I pray. I mean, Wu had a fantastic episode tonight, like completely positive. He shared the story about his mom. We see Wu crying, which is always a good thing if you're looking in terms of winning. Anybody crying is always a good thing for your chances, except for Lisa Welchel. Then, you got him going out, and he did great in the immunity challenge. I mean, it seems like he got it so that Abby would be going home before him. I mean, I thought Wu was fantastic tonight. And, I'm really interested to see what ends up happening with this foursome as it goes on in case they do swap back. Because it seems like they're swapping back to 2 tribes at 14. If they swap back to 2 tribes at 14 and Angkor doesn't lose next challenge, I mean –
I don't. That's why I'm almost 100% sure Angkor is not going to tribal council again, at least with this foursome right now, because Tasha said Wu is like, you just tell him what to do before tribal, he'll do it with 100%. I mean, it's not even close. Abby and Wu are opposites. Abby's going to go causing trouble. She's going to switch her vote. She's going to flip. She's going to flop. Wu is extremely loyal. So I think. There's no questions asked there. They wouldn't have shown us that clear of an answer between Abby and Wu, because we were talking about this on our predictions for this episode. Is it possible that they just vote Wu and keep Abby thinking they can control her? So I don't think Angkor is going again. It would just be too obvious, and they wouldn't have shown us this much tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're finally starting to get a little bit from everybody, and that's setting up for all of these people are about to – I have a feeling that the Takeo, whatever it is, the Takeo, like that 5, 6, however many it is, like that 5-person alliance, I have a feeling they're going to end up finding themselves at tribal. If not next week, when this tribe swap happens, a majority of them are going to be going to tribal, and there's a reason they showed this. And, it was also cool to see, at the beginning, we're talking about Angkor with Tasha and Savage. They're finally on top of Angkor, and now we don't think Angkor is going to go to tribal again. What is going to happen to Tasha and Savage if this merges back to 2 and they're there? Like, do you think that they're screwed, or do you think this Bion voting out of Monica actually helps them?
I think they go back to Bion and say, look, we're good. We did our jobs. We got 2 Takeo members out. If Abby's still around, say, look, Wu helped us out, or, say whatever they want. They can say Abby helped us out, Wu helped them out. All you got to say is, look, I want to join back up with you. It seems like maybe it's going to be this Takeo 5 versus some kind of group of other Bion members. And then, I don't know, maybe Abby and Wu kind of on their own.
Float on in. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see in the upcoming episodes. But so after the reward.
We also, Spencer keeps just killing it, changing and being emotional. It's great.
Yeah, he had a great episode again tonight. I think Spencer's really setting himself up well for later in this game. If you would have told me that we'd be 4 tribal councils or 5 tribal councils in now, and Spencer, Abby, Maria, Cass, and Steven would all still be in the game, I would have told you were insane before the season started. All 4 of them are still in this game. That really does blow my mind. And I was completely wrong with the Steven thing. I still don't think he's getting so much of a redemption arc, but Steven was completely set. And if Monica doesn't open her mouth, Kelly Wigglesworth really does go home tonight, and it would have been an easy boot for them.
Yeah, this is what I was saying the whole time, that I think Steven was really tight with this, but not tight with them, but he was in good with them enough. But the edit made him look like a dumbass. And so kind of what you're saying, it doesn't feel like a full redemption arc because we didn't really get his thoughts on it. Now I'm starting to vibe with the tribe, and I'm going to tribal, and I'm voting the right way. But I don't think Steven's winning this game, but I do think that he, will play a big role at some point because he is turning it around. Yeah,
I hope so. But yeah, just with the only reason I brought that up is just because it blows my mind that all 4 of them are still in the game. But like you said with Spencer, him going out and just talking to Jeremy, and he really is. He is playing really well, even after they lost immunity. Him knowing to play it cool enough where it's just trust them, just trust them, just trust them. Nobody wants to deal with a paranoid person. It just drives people insane. So just sit there and hope that it's not you after you get the solidification, though. You can't do what Brenda did in Nicaragua where it's I won't beg. It's no. You go, you get it solidified, and then you don't bring it up again. You just have to go and sit there and pray that they're not losing their mind and hope that nobody walks up to you and says, hey, they're going to actually vote you out now.
Yeah, that was really, really well done by Spencer. Even though when he was walking behind Steven and Jeremy, it was a little bit awkward. Kind of he was you could see he's trying to get out of the way of the cameraman. Didn't want to be right in the lens either. So that was kind of fun. And when he was fishing, they do this big kind of fishing scene. I mean, the fish he took off that spear was like the size of my finger. Like it was small.
It was a pinky. It was the smallest fish I've ever seen in my life. Nobody could eat that. I'm pretty sure Jeremy just threw it back in the water once the camera turned away.
Yeah, I mean, in the secret scene, he let a chicken go for not having enough meat on it. I mean, that fish, it was so tiny. There's no way he would eat that. And then Spencer has this big confessional. I mean, it almost felt like a Cochran confessional, saying I was this, awkward, geeky kid, all of this stuff. And he says, it felt good today to be like the Aussie and the Joe. And they show him in the water, like, fiddling with his snorkel and mask and spear and, like,
the snorkel's like upside down. Like he has like the mask on, but the snorkel's like upside down, not even near his mouth. I mean, Spencer, you're never going to be a Joe or an Aussie, but I never thought of Spencer as so much a Cochran either, though. Like I feel like Spencer's a normal dude. They just have to play up his stereotype. It's good for him. It got him on the show, but I don't think he's nearly as nerdy as he makes himself out to be on the show, or how the editors make him seem.
Yeah, this is why Spencer's edit's so baffling. They're treating him like Cochran, but in Spencer's first season, he got 4th place, was well-liked, won like 3 immunity challenges, was a fan favorite. I don't see why he needs to go through this whole kind of change. But do you think him fumbling with all that stuff was just kind of a mistake? That's the only footage they had by CBS? Or is that them saying, oh, he's actually kind of, he's still a nerd or something like that?
I think they were just showing him as goofy. It was like he's goofy, proud, like he's so proud of himself, but he's still like a child, Like I don't know. I just feel like that's what we got from him.
Right. Anything about the immunity challenge? I mean, it was just pretty simple. We already talked about who we'd sit out and all that stuff. I think there's a lot to talk about with this Monica vote. So, do you have anything to say about the immunity challenge?
No, I mean the immunity challenge really wasn't that exciting. Steven completely messed up hitting Angkor's thing, which was really funny, and then they're like, Steven, just get down, please get down, which is really funny. It's once again Steven just looking like a dumbass. Like he can't do anything right. But he was not in any danger of going home, and that's what makes me think his position has been secure for a while now. I guess a problem with this challenge too is that Angkor actually won first, so we knew then that it was by ongoing because Takio, we got that one scene of a final 5. If they go, Terry's gone 100%, that's no fun. Not that they made it fun anyway, but. Yeah, they didn't make it fun, but, it was like, oh, it's Spencer Wigglesworth. Then we all knew it was going to be Monica going into the vote, and it wasn't any fun, but it was fun to sit there and, like, Monica, I mean, I was sitting there before the actual votes were read, and I'm like, damn, this is boring. We know it's going to be Monica. Like, this is stupid. Why did they do it this way? They should have given Wigglesworth some time. But as soon as I saw Monica's face the first time, I was like, okay, this is funny. Like, it's funny that we know that it's her. We've known it's her this whole time. And now here she is, and she is furious. She had no idea. She didn't even nobody even hinted at it to her. And she knew that it was the 3 of them who voted against her. She knew that Spencer and Kelly still voted against each other. Like, just really, really funny to watch. Did we lose much with Monica? Not really. So it's good that she goes out like this. This is still a great boot list.
That's what I was going to say. This is now, again, sure we lost Varner last week, but, man, you have Vetus, Shireen, PG, Varner, and now Monica. I'm loving it. I really am.
You know what, though? Tonight was great without Varner. We got to see a lot from everybody else. And, I have no problem with Varner going as long as they're going to make the edit a lot more even. You know what I mean? And that's what it seemed like they were trying to do tonight. It seemed like they were really trying to give everybody a little bit of something, at least to show up, as opposed to other weeks where they don't even show up. So the Monica goes, definitely a hashtag blindside. Definitely not to the audience, but definitely to her. This was one of the bigger blindsides we've seen of a contestant not knowing.
Right. Maybe one of the biggest ones. Not ever, but maybe
it might
ever.
be one of the biggest ones ever.
Not that it has that much significance in the game. We're still pre-merge. She went out,
this is no Aussie boo.
Yeah, in 16th place. She didn't have an idol in her pocket. But in terms of just being shocked, this has got to be up there. So that was fun. Was this the right move for that buy-on alliance?
I don't know, because now what's going to happen is they're going to look at this and be like, okay, Savage and Tasha got rid of 2 Takeo members. We had 10 Bayon, and now we had 6 Takeo. And it seemed like the Bayon tribe really was tight beforehand. Maybe that's why we didn't get to see so much strategizing, because they were just tight. Like, all around, if they would have went to tribal, they don't know who they would have voted off. Because I don't think they would have been Steven so much. So,
exactly. And that's why
I don't think
Steven
they even talked about it.
That's why Steven was getting thrown under the bus continuously, because they had no other story to show.
Exactly. So now here we have something that goes on like this, and Monica goes home. Now the other Bayon members have to be like, well, why would you keep around Wigglesworth and Spencer? And they have to be a little nervous that now with Monica gone, the numbers are 9-6, but if those 3 defect, it's 9-6 the opposite way now. Not that I'm saying it's completely along those tribal lines, but I think that now people are going to be a little more wary of of Steven, Jeremy, and Kimmy, and them playing the game super hard.
Yeah, I think if Bayon and Takeo had been original tribes longer, this may be an issue. But because they were only together for 6 days, we've actually now on these new tribes, they've actually spent more time with each other. So, and then we're going to swap. We think next week, maybe the week after, we're going to swap very soon. So if it weren't for all these swaps and then we're going to merge probably a couple episodes after that, then it might be a big deal. But I think it's pretty easy to explain. You say, hey, look, Monica was targeting us. She was trying to get Wigglesworth and start an all-girls alliance, and we had to, put that out. It's pretty easy to explain. And Monica, I don't think she was super connected with anybody, or at least we didn't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. And fun night from Kimmy, finally. Like, I was happy to see some Kimmy. I mean, Kimmy is entertaining. Her and Varner are along the same lines where they're both fiery, and they both like to just say exactly what's on their mind, and they have a hard time keeping it all in. And it's fun to see some from Kimmy because she is an interesting character. She is an entertaining character. And believe it or not, I know nobody ever believes me when I say this, but she really did carry pre-merge Australia. She had the most confessionals in pre-merge Australia, more than Colby, more than Jerry, more than Elizabeth, Alicia, Jeff Varner, Scoopin. I mean, it's really insane to think about how much screen time Kimmy got back then, and she's still just as entertaining now. So I'm glad we finally got to see more of her and actually see a storyline start to develop. When
she went up to Steven and Jeremy, she was angry. Like, this wasn't a strategic move. She was emotional. She's like, we gotta punch her in the face. She was
pretty much.
She was livid. She could not believe that Monica would even bring up this idea. And again, Monica never said, let's vote out Jeremy, let's vote out Steven. She just said, let's keep the Bayon force strong, and let's target Spencer to keep the female numbers up. It's not that crazy. It's not that huge strategic idea.
All she's trying to do is get rid of a Takeo member. She just wants Spencer gone instead of Kelly. That's the only difference.
Which probably is a good idea because Spencer's a huge threat. And if you're Kimmy, you're a female. Why aren't you? I think it's her old school ways. She's just not the most strategic thinker. So she just hears anything against the grain and says, sirens go off in her head. I need to go tell somebody about it.
I mean, it's a completely different way of thinking. I mean, Jeff, of course, brings it up at Tribal tonight, but, he said Spencer you are the typical new schooler. And, somebody like Kimmy is the typical old schooler. I mean, she doesn't think strategically, and we're seeing it from Wigglesworth. I don't understand why you would keep Spencer over Wigglesworth. I guess they just felt that they connected more with Spencer. But I agree with Monica in this situation. Spencer can go on to win this game. Kelly Wigglesworth really can't. And I don't even think people are going to give her the benefit of the doubt because she played season 1. I think people are just like, Kelly Wigglesworth is there. I don't think anybody really cares to align with her. I don't really think they care where she stands. I think she's just a prop, kind of like what we thought she was going to be before the game even started. We thought she was just going to come out and just be another number for the TV.
Right, and I think this is a perfect segue into our 5-5-5. Yeah. We'll call it a game. We can turn it into a game somehow. I don't really know what else to call it. A segment. But before we do that, let's make it. Was this a bad or good move by Jeremy, Kimmy, and Steven?
I'll say it was a good move.
I like the move because Spencer sticks around and Kelly Wigglesworth sticks around, but I think it's a good move for Jeremy and Steven. I don't think it's a good move for Kimmy, though, because, I mean, if any sort of alliance does kind of come down to gender lines, now the men do have the advantage, and not that it's going to happen soon. And Kimmy's proven that she'll, I guess she's proven her loyalty. I don't know. It's like one of these things we really have to wait and see.
Yeah, I guess if I'm looking at it, if it's between Monica and Kelly Wigglesworth, then they made the right move because Monica's a lot more dangerous than Kelly Wigglesworth.
And Kelly Wigglesworth's better at the challenges too. So
Yeah,
I'm on board.
Yeah, so I guess they did make the right move. I guess they did.
Move. Let's say it's a good move. I think it is, especially if you're Jeremy and Steven. And I guess Kimmy proved her loyalty by telling them right away, I don't want any part of a female alliance. I'm by on strong. And by the way, Jeremy and Kimmy both started saying Bayonne, which is how we said it earlier, and we got critiqued for it. So the people in the tribe don't even know how to pronounce their own tribe. That's how hard it is to say. Not that Bayonne is hard to say. There's so many different ways to pronounce it. Okay.
It's the accents, man. It's the accents. You got a Long Island accent and a Boston accent. That doesn't help.
Okay. Should we get to some
comments? How do you want to start this? You want to start with the people with no chance?
Do you want to start with comments and then get to 555? Just because I feel like there's a lot of comments. Maybe we should do half the comments.
Let's do the Twitter comments because we had a lot of Twitter comments. Then we'll do the 555. Then we'll do the YouTube comments
and the Google Plus Q&A comments. We have a
No,
lot.
there are none.
I'm kidding. We have zero.
Yeah, because the one guy actually told us. Hang on.
We turned it on. I turned it on.
Well, Mark Dean said, try to do the Google Q&A thing. Seems that you guys have to enable the Q&A option before starting the broadcast. Here are the instructions, and there's like a support group thing that he put on there.
Okay.
We'll look into that after.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's do Twitter because, I mean, a lot of these East Coast people, they were tweeting at us. I didn't watch the episode at 5. I don't know if Willie did, but I did not.
I watched it.
I actually had to sign out of Twitter because after I saw the first one where it was, I think Joe is getting a more positive edit this episode. This is from Glambert Girl. Possible foreshadowing to a further run than you guys have thought. I saw that and I didn't want to read it, but as soon as you see Joe getting a positive edit, you're like, okay, let me just look. This is nothing new. That was the only thing I knew coming into it. I think Joe is going to make a far run in this game. I'm shocked to be saying that at this point in the game, but I think Joe's going to make a far run.
I mean, it was all based on tonight's episode. He spearheaded that 5. I mean, they probably had that idea already, kind of going in their heads. Kelly did that work, throwing Terry under the bus earlier. But it showed him being very proactive strategically. And like you said, with the whole family member thing, that was in his opening confessional, right? Or was that just pregame?
That was in his opening confessional. That was the first thing he said when he showed up.
Okay, so that's also a very good sign for him to make the long run. Joe's looking very good.
Yeah, I agree. And she even said not that his edits have been positive, but they're showing him strategize more. Maybe it's just my wishful thinking. No, I think you're on the right track with this one. Richard Marquardt, I feel like Wu had an awesome episode. He had a great edit, and he won immunity for his tribe. I really believe Wu was the MVP of this episode. I really think that he did everything that he was supposed to, and I don't think he would have been the one to go home if Angkor loses. I know we fall into the trap a lot with MVP and LVP of if we always normally give it to the tribe that goes to tribal. I think in this instance, Wu did enough for his tribe that won.
Wait, how did he win the immunity challenge? I mean, he won the reward challenge with the balls. That's for sure.
Yeah, he definitely won the reward with the balls. I think with the immunity, he just hit the most targets. I think that's probably what they're saying here. I mean, he was definitely the best. Savage was not good at the challenge. I don't really remember what Tasha did. Abby couldn't even get the ball to fly anywhere. So I think Wu really did. Wu did everything right tonight. Everything right that you can do when your tribe doesn't go to tribal.
Okay, I mean, I was thinking Kimmy for this, just for showing, some force and, not, letting Monica kind of be sneaky. I was thinking mainly Kimmy for this, for MVP, but we will nominate players. I always forget who's on my fantasy team, but we will nominate players at some point.
Because you just nominated somebody now from your team, so,
Well, I just thought Kimmy had a good episode. I think she did.
Episode. I agree. Let's see. Glambert Girl again. Whoa, who do you think is being checked out by medical from Takeo next week? This could weaken the team if they lose someone. We'll get into this in our predictions thing. We know who it is. We know who it is. Anybody who's really been following since even preseason, I mean, it came out kind of late preseason, or at least I saw it right before the season started. I mean, it's been talked about. Don't comment it here. Please, we'll go over it in the predictions thing, and we'll try to foreshadow it, because pretty much what's probably going to happen next week is somebody's going to get pulled from the game right away, and then they're probably still going to vote somebody out. So we do think that there's going to be a tribe swap next week, correct?
Yeah, there's probably going to be a tribe swap, and I don't think we can maybe talk about this freely more on our predictions episode. I know there's a lot of people who don't want anything at all spoiled, so let's not say anything on this episode.
Yeah, not at all. Let's see here. Jimmy O'Connor. Oh, never mind. He just deleted a tweet. Mel, I like seeing. What?
Well,
yeah, reposted
it now that yeah.
I know Jimmy's an East Coaster, so Mel says I liked seeing a scene with Joe strategizing. That was a pretty positive edit for him. I hope he makes it. Oh my God, I can't even speak. I hope it means he makes it far. Thoughts. I mean,
so this
everybody's loving this Joe thing. Now that they can finally talk positively about Joe, girls are going crazy.
Right. This is the second female mentioning Joe's positive strategic edit, hoping he goes further. So, I mean, he can catch fish, make hammocks, win challenges, and he can strategize. So, I mean, Joe's he's got it all.
Let's see here. Camden Ewan. Someone sent me the bootless spoiler, pissed me off. How much can you usually trust those?
None.
I wouldn't say you can really trust them. I think with this season, what's going to happen next week kind of set the tone. And I know a lot of people have been going crazy over like weight loss pictures and stuff like that. It wasn't that hard to say who was on the outs from the beginning. And you got to think if, 10 million people watch Survivor and even 1,000 of them make a boot list, one of them is going to be pretty accurate through the beginning. And when you already kind of know one of the people that's going to go before the merge, with the weight loss and all that stuff, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it because by the time they hit the merge, I don't think anybody really knows. And if they do, damn, that sucks. But I didn't see it, so I'm very happy I didn't. Because Heroes vs. Villains, I saw it and I was angry.
What people do is they'll make a new list each week and then start the list off like, oh, Vetus, Shireen, PG, Varner, Monica. And you're like, oh my God, they got the first 5 right. But then, someone posted that in a comment on one of our videos saying that Sierra went home 3rd. Obviously, that didn't happen. So I think people are just, I don't know.
I think what happened was people right before the first – I know this boot list that I guess he's talking about probably was posted before the first episode. You got to remember, before the first episode, if somebody sits down the night before the first episode and actually looks into it and says, oh, these are the previews that CBS has put out, they knew Vetus was going to go home first. And then they can use deductive reasoning to just say, oh, well, Shireen really didn't have anything in these previews, so Shireen must go. I mean, so many people nitpick the previews so much, it wouldn't have been that hard to do it. If it keeps going through the merge, try to erase it from your mind. I don't know. Get the Eternal Sunshine thing and just get it out of there.
I don't understand how you can accidentally see a boot list. I don't understand that to begin with. How did you see the Heroes vs. Villains one? If I see anything close to that, I turn away and maybe I'll see a name or two, but I'm not looking down the list at the winner.
Oh no, Heroes vs. Villains was when I was new to Sucks, or I just started looking. I didn't realize Survivor was on the internet, and I thought that was cool. And I was young, and I was like, oh, let me just look at this. And then it was like, wow, that would be a really crappy boot list. And that was the Heroes vs. Villains one, and it ends up being one of the best seasons ever. I thought the boot list was terrible before the season started. But yeah, I saw that one. Then I tried to pretend I didn't know what it was, but I knew.
Okay, yeah, because I try to stay away from all that stuff. It's
no, since that one was 100%, I didn't even look. Because that one, I was like, oh, let me see if this would actually be right, and it, kind of hindered the first watch of a really good season.
Yeah, man, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it is. Glambert Girl, again, why do you think the original Bayons left Spencer and Wiggles in the dark on the Monica vote? To show alliance to former Bayon? Why do you think they didn't say anything?
I think it's to make sure they don't go and tell Monica and say, look, they're voting you. All we need, maybe we can pull one more and get someone else out. I mean, if you have the votes, why go and get more? There's no reason to.
I think that's what it was. There's 3 of them. They don't need any more because they know Kelly and Spencer can't vote for themselves, and they know Monica's going to vote for one of them.
Exactly. So there's no reason to let the plan kind of get out there.
Yeah. Mel, again, do you think it was a good idea for Bayon to vote out Monica? Was she really ever going to be that much of a threat? I think Monica was going to be a threat. She could have easily been a strategic threat. I mean, she was clearly thinking about the game. I know one of the comments on the YouTube thing was, Phil, when was she playing the game? Tell me where and when. She was playing it from day one. I mean, she had this whole idea of the Girls Alliance. She didn't like Spencer. She wanted Spencer out. I mean, she was clearly working her way in this game. It wasn't showy. It wasn't Varner-esque. It wasn't Tasha in your face like that. It was just, it's a more subtle gameplay. And yeah, it could have been successful down the line. I think it is a good move to get rid of her over somebody like Wigglesworth, who's going to be no threat at all.
Yeah, and we have to remember this is Monica's first tribal council, so maybe she had been sneaking, kind of playing hard this whole time, and they just hadn't had a chance to vote her out yet. That doesn't appear to be the case. It appears to be that she just single-handedly was just said female alliance. Kimmy went, whoa, like flipped out, told the other guys. And but I think Monica, obviously didn't have a great run on this, but it could have been worse for her. I think she, went out swinging at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm always excited when that happens, especially on these returning seasons. Mel again, Tosh and Savage leaders on Anchor now. What do you think will happen when they go back to two tribes and then merge? I think Tosh is longer for the game than Savage. I think Savage is going to go out really early merge, if he makes the merge. Because I could also see Savage going right before the merge.
He could be, post second swap.
Yeah. Like he finally works his way to the top. I mean, this would literally be Pearl Islands all over again. Finally works his way back into the game where he can actually make some moves, and then a twist happens and he ends up going. This would be the exact same thing. Started on the bottom, worked his way all the way up, and now he's in trouble. Let's do our little 5-5-5 thing so people can kind of – I don't know. I think this is kind of interesting. We're a quarter of the way in. 5 people are gone. We got 15 left. And instead of – like with the power rankings, we just say who's going to be safe each week. This is more of our thinking for down the line, and maybe people will just yell at us and say that we're dumb and wrong. I think we should start with the people with no shot, though, and get to the contenders after. Yeah. So you go first.
Sure. Before we get there, I just want to say Kelly Wentworth favorited a tweet. So
Kelly Wentworth favorited a tweet.
Our tweet, yeah, and I don't think she's like Rodney who favorites every single tweet at her. At least I don't think so.
At her?
So yeah,
I didn't know you tweeted her.
I did. I rarely tweet, but I thought Keith's butt grab was just too funny. I mean, it's Keith.
Wow, that is a good tweet, man. I'm proud of you on that one. That's funny.
Thank you. Okay. I got it. I mean, it's no shot. I'm starting. Do you want me to rank my no shot or just say the 5?
Is Kelly Wentworth going to come to the Phil and Will side and leave the D&D team? Anyway, go ahead. This might be the beginning of the mutiny. I guess you can kind of rank the no shot. I kind of tried to put them in some sort of order. I don't really have them in a perfect one, but there's definitely people that I was more on the cusp of being contenders and stuff. So I guess if you want to do the no shot, go ahead.
I'm going to say Abby has no shot. Sure, she's, voted the majority for tribal councils in a row. It's just her personality, man. She just rubs people the wrong way. She has no shot to win this game. I don't like Terry's chances. He's at the bottom of his tribe. He's a physical threat and not a strategic player at all. We haven't seen that much of him except for kind of his one kind of I changed moment. So I got Terry there. Kelly Wigglesworth has been confessionalist for 3 straight episodes. She's a legend. You'd think we'd see more of her if she was going to end up winning this game. Keith, because he's Keith, nothing to do with the edit. It's Keith. And then Kimmy, I got here pretty much because I have to have a 5th person here. I actually can see her winning. She's probably my most in the hunt out of the no-shot people, but I still think it's a long shot for Kimmy to win. I mean, the only time we saw her tonight was it was all contributing to Monica's boot. That's why we saw it. We didn't see anything from Kimmy up until then, until it contributed to someone else's story. So I don't think this story, it belongs to Kimmy.
Yeah, and I agree with 4 out of the 5, and I thought the 4 were really easy. Abby has the least amount of chance to win in this entire game. Wigglesworth, no chance at all. Keith, no chance, just because it's Keith, and we haven't seen anything really from him, and there's nothing telling us, like, wow, Keith really is going to own this jury when he gets there. Like, it doesn't seem like Keith has really changed. It just seems like people have walked up to him and said, hey, man, vote with us. I put Terry there because tonight really showed that he has no chance on that tribe. And I don't think that he's going to be able to be social enough that when the tribes swap again, if they lose, I think everybody's going to realize he's still a threat come merge time.
He's a huge threat.
Yeah. So I think the 4 there, and then my 5th one was tough, and I was between Kimmy and Steven. And I did Steven mainly to piss you off and put him there, but I put Steven there just because Spencer's getting a redemption arc. Steven's not. Steven had the potential for a redemption arc, and they're still showing him being kind of a buffoon. Yeah, he's not on the chopping block, but I don't think he can win this game right now. So I put him with no shot, although to me, like you with Kimmy, he was the most in the hunt.
Right. In terms of Steven and Spencer, I mean, Spencer is getting a redemption arc from his last season. He did things last season that didn't work for him. Now he's changing those. I think Steven can have an in-season redemption arc where he does things early that don't really work out. He doesn't fit in, and then we slowly see him start fitting in. The only problem is there's no confessional saying this. There's no explanation of it. If it was going to happen, it probably would have come tonight. I agree. I think I have Steven at the bottom of the 5 in the hunt players.
Okay, and I guess I'll just say for the bottom of my 5 in the hunt, I have Kimmy. So we were on the same thinking with Kimmy and Steven, and it was like one of them we have to put in the hunt because we said it was going to be 5, 5, and 5. One of them we have to put with no shot. I mean, I think they're I guess that would be 10. So they're like 10A and 10B at this point. Neither of them really stands out from the other. I just like that I saw from Kimmy tonight, and I think that maybe her, Jeremy, and Steven can work together a little bit, but I think that Kimmy has a better chance to go further because she's going to be seen as such a non-threat come merge time.
Look, wouldn't that just be such an awesome alliance? Spencer, Steven, Jeremy, and Kimmy. I mean, it's just fun.
That would be a really funny alliance because it's like, how does that form? Before the season starts, who's sitting there saying that?
Versus Joe, Cass, Sierra, Kelly Wentworth, and Keith.
With Savage and Tasha as like swing votes. I mean, that would be fun. Even Woo throw in there. I mean, that would be fun. That really would. I like what's left, and I like the way this is shaping up for the long run here. Because even these people who I have in the hunt and not with it, like as a contender, God, it's still like I would still like to see any of them really win. And I guess do you kind of want to take this one at a time, or do you want me to just list off the other 5 of mine or the other 4 in mine?
Yeah, I mean, I have Steven at the bottom, you have Kimmy at the bottom. I guess you can just name your other 4 in some sort of order.
Yeah, in some sort of order. I have Sierra at 9 pretty much because we haven't seen enough of Sierra. I still think that if she got to the end, she could win it. She could be getting the Sandra edit where it's like we don't have to show so much of her at the beginning. We did get to see a little bit of her tonight, but we still don't get a confessional. She seems like she's just been a little bit of a background player. 8, I have Savage. He's been like right in the forefront, but there's not enough. There's just not enough Savage. Like, not enough positive. I really think he's going to be right before the merge or right after the merge. He's gone. I don't think he's changed enough, and I don't think that people are going to want to work with him. I don't think he's going to be willing to work with a lot of people. Then I actually have Cass, and I was thinking about putting Cass as a contender, but I ended up leaving her off just because, like, it's still Cass. I can't believe that Cass is actually going to win this game. And after that, I have Joe because, yeah, they've given Joe a huge positive. It seems like Joe's getting a lot more positive and everything's going good for Joe. But he's still Joe. Like, how is Joe going to convince people to bring him to the final 3 to sit down and win this game? And I still think he's Joe. You know what I mean? I still think that he's bound for 6th or 7th place in Survivor. That's just where he's going to end up. It's like a James thing. He just can't go above that.
Or he'll get medevac.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
A James thing.
Exactly. It's a James.
Okay.
Thing.
I have a very similar list here. I am pretty shocked you have Woo as like a top contender, but hey, do what you will. I have Steven at the bottom, like I said. I have Savage right above that, and then I have Sierra, and I'll talk about Sierra and Savage. Savage went to 2 straight tribal councils, and we didn't even see that much of him. If he's the winner, you'd think we'd see more of him. The stuff we saw from him on Bayon really contributed to Jeremy's story. It contributed to Cass's story. How other people kind of reacted to him, Steven's idol comment, and that went, all to Jeremy. I mean, I'm still hoping for the Savage-Steven reunion, that they'll get together at the merge, and that will, play out in some way. But I don't think Savage is going to win this game. I have Sierra right above. Sierra has not been a tribal council yet, so I think we're still getting just little bits of Sierra. You would think if she wins, we would have seen more, but there's still a chance. I got Woo above her. But it is still Woo. I know he, has had a great episode, and he's been, really fighting his way this season and kind of taking a stand and not being the guy who just rolls over. But like Keith, it's still Woo, man. And he got to last the final tribal council in his last season and, totally dropped the ball. I don't see him even getting that far this season because he's a physical threat. He's a likable guy. Even though he steals stuff. Supposedly he stole more stuff last episode.
He's crafty, man. Good for him.
Like they have
right?
they have the food out at the reward and they say, take it back to camp, and they film them, walking the food back to camp. But often that's not the food they'll actually eat, and it's just kind of to look good. And they give them
pocketing it.
Yeah, and he was stuffing sausages in his bag and eating marshmallows. And then they had to check all their bags. Dude. Yeah, so he's playing hard.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Right. So I don't know. His argument against Jeff, he just made such a bad argument. We talked about that. I have Joe right above that. He's just too much of a physical threat, even though tonight's episode did look so good for Joe. I hope he can, continue this strategic presence, but I don't think, it's really in the cards for him.
Yeah, and I have Wu at the very bottom of the contenders list, and it was all tonight, but then I've also been looking at it, and Wu he's actually been playing a really good game so far this season. And I know we ended up on the wrong side of the numbers and easily could have went last week, but I feel like them getting rid of PG first kind of showed that Wu was in their better graces than we really thought he was going to be. And I think Wu's really come out and he's playing hard. And tonight, we saw a lot of Wu. We saw emotion from Wu. We saw the physical ability of Wu. We saw a lot from Wu. And I'm not I don't think we got too much of that in Kagayan. Granted, Kagayan was just loaded with crazies, with Tony and all that stuff and bigger characters than him. This season's loaded with bigger characters too, and we're getting a good helping of Wu. So I think Wu has a little bit of a chance. Where I'm at with Wu, Joe, and Cass is they are all who they are. And it's hard to put any of them as a contender, just like it's hard to put Kimmy or Steven as in the hunt. You know what I mean? It's really hard.
I don't agree with you that I wouldn't group Cass in there with those three. Joe you can't shake, you can't rip muscle off yourself. You can't make yourself bad at challenges. That's not going to happen when you could throw a challenge, but Joe's going to be a threat no matter what. Wu is going to kind of not have his head 100% in the game, and I think he has the desire to be there. But, remember the early episodes with Wu in this season? I know he's gotten a lot recently, but he was kind of just, kind of in the background. He had that one thing with Shireen and Spencer, but besides that, we really didn't see much from him. So I think those people are kind of who they are. They're not changing. Cass is a whole different story. I have Cass at the bottom of my contenders, but I would not group Cass in with them at all. She has proven to be, a delightful person to be around. She has an alliance of 5. She seems to be getting along with everybody. And you have to remember, she is a very strategic player, so I think she's going to change the right things. And then she is still who she is, that player who knows the game well and that can make moves.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying about Cass. Cass has impressed me this season. I just feel like if I had to pick between Wu and Cass, I'd just give a little bit of an edge to Wu. I'll finish out my contender.
Really? You think Wu has a better chance to win than Cass from what we've seen this season? How many times have we heard Cass
from what we've seen this season alone, I think Wu has a better chance. I really do.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I totally disagree with you.
I think a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but that's that's just
sure. No, that's fine. Disagree. That'd be interesting in the comments if you want to let us know who do you think has a better chance to win. The whole theme of this season is that you're rewarded if you change, and who is changing the most? Cass. We haven't heard Wu say anything about changing his game.
But we just see it. Wu hasn't had to say it. It's just been happening.
It's been happening, but you think they would draw some attention to it. They would talk about it in Tribal.
Words and actions, man. That's my whole thing here.
Right, and CBS shoves this stuff down your throat, and we're not getting that with Wu. We're seeing him be loud.
Maybe Wu doesn't realize it's happening.
Exactly, but Jeff would say something at Tribal. These Tribals are 3 hours long. They would show something that shows, Wu is succeeding in this game because he's playing differently. We have gotten none of that from Wu. So I think Cass has a much better chance because that's all we're getting from Cass.
All right. Well, agree to disagree on that one.
That's fine.
I'll finish out my contenders. I have Tasha at 4, Wentworth at 3. Tasha, I like where she's at. I think she's getting the narrator position over Savage. I think she's got a way better chance to win this game than Savage.
I have Tasha at 4 as well. So we can work our way up here for the same.
Yeah.
Tasha can win this game. She's doing really well.
I think Wentworth, is in a really good position. They keep showing her just enough. She still has the idol. Her head is completely in this game, and now she's in the Takeo alliance of 5. Honestly, other than Keith, she is the least threatening person in that alliance, and she might even be seen as less threatening than Keith to some people because Keith is incredibly likable, and people know that. So I think Wentworth's in a really good position here to maybe win this game.
Yeah, I have Spencer at 3, Wentworth at 2. Quickly on Wentworth, she's gone to confessional, I think, every episode, and she's always giving insight. She's not just saying, oh, we switched tribes and here are the numbers now. She's saying, this is what I want to do. We see her enact a plan. She does have an idol. They're keeping her very visible. And like you said, look at that alliance. I mean, anyone who watched has seen the season Survivor know that, oh, Kelly, you don't have to worry about her. Why is she even on this season when she is playing really hard? And we know that she's playing hard. I have her at number 2, just behind Jeremy, because Jeremy's been my boy from the beginning. He seems to be kind of deciding things for that Bion tribe. He's got an idol of his own. I like where he's at. And so you have Spencer at 2, I'm guessing, or 1?
No, I have Spencer at 1. Believe it or not, I think after at the quarter mark, I guess you would say, of this season, I think Spencer has he's gotten just the edit has been insane, and he's been playing it so much different, and he's really trying to work his way in. And I think that Shireen Spencer boot was huge, and I really think I think Jeremy's kind of playing a similar game to San Juan del Sur, and like you've been saying, it's the people who change who seem to be rewarded this season. And I think Spencer has changed a lot more than Jeremy. I put Spencer at number 1. I didn't think I'd be doing that this deep into the game. I mean, I thought he'd be gone by now. And I think it's going to be a huge slip up on Takeo's part for not getting rid of him when they did. And even Bayon's part tonight for not getting rid of him when they did. Or when they could have.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're now using the logic there that you have to change, but you won't use it for Wu and Cass. I don't know if you
I am using it for Wu and Cass. I think Wu is changing. I think Wu is changing immensely. But I think they're both changing a lot.
They're not drawing any attention. They're not drawing any attention to it. And I know I have Spencer 3. I know exactly what you're saying. He's getting the thing with Spencer though is I think he's getting this overwhelmingly positive edit because first of all he's pretty good in confessionals. He's it's interesting. Not that he's like a Varner or anything, but he does narrate well, and he is a fan favorite. So there's a lot of fans that if Spencer's not on the show, they won't tune in next week. So I think we have to consider that as well. That's why we saw that preview, that midweek preview was Abby and Spencer. Those are 2 big characters that draw a lot of fans in. So I think that could have something to do with it. Spencer, it just seems like.
But if you're going to go that route right now, I have to interrupt. If you're going to go that route right now, why are we not getting more screen time from Cass and getting so much from Wu?
We are getting a good amount of screen time. Cass has not been to tribal. Cass has not been to tribal council, and she's still getting way more screen time.
I think this is my argument here. One last time here, I have to say this. My argument here between Cass and Wu is Cass hasn't been to a tribal, so she has to say, "I'm changing. I am changing," and the editors have to draw attention to it if she's going to change the line. Wu does not have to say it because Wu keeps, "Yes, I'm changing. I swear I'm changing," but we don't get to see it so naturally.
Okay. But that's not Cass's fault, and they're keeping that present in your mind. So tell me this. How many characters or how many castaways are currently on the season that have yet to go to tribal? Name them.
Wu. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Cass? Do I have to go down can I look? Can I cheat?
Yeah, of course. No, this isn't a quiz. I just want you to name them, and then you'll see exactly what my point is.
Cass, Joe, Sierra, Keith. Is that it now? And Wentworth? No, Wentworth went. Those are the only 4 now, right?
Right. Okay. And out of those 4 people, who have we seen the most of saying they're changing? It's Cass. We've seen way more.
It's Cass. And Joe is a close. Yeah.
Think about how little we've seen of Sierra, how little we've seen of Keith. They all have been on the same tribes with each other. Cass was on a tribe with those 2 people to start. And yet we've seen way, way more of Cass than we have those other 2 characters. And then Joe is a fan favorite, recent season 30. You have to show him a lot. The ladies love him. We saw that from our tweets tonight. So I'm not really, and he's not talking about changing apart from tonight's 1 confessional. I mean, Cass has gotten so much of I'm changing. Wu, I guess the comments will have to, they can provide their opinion. But I think Cass is a true contender to win this game.
Okay. Well, we had to disagree on something. All right, let's get to these comments so that we can get through this. I mean, I think we're almost at an hour and a half anyway. All of our podcasts this season have been long because we actually like this season a lot, and we like the people on it.
And we have
Mark
more
D.
comments read and stuff because we're getting
Yeah,
more
because
views.
I think everybody's really into this season. I think last season kind of made people a little mad, and I think it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And now this season is like exciting again, and it's different, and it's really entertaining. Even tonight's episode, we knew it was going to be Monica, and we'll get right into this comment here. Mark Dean, the edit seemed so obvious tonight. It went from no Monica ever to Monica being paranoid about Spencer last week in one scene, then jumped right into Monica pissing Kimmy off tonight. Still a pretty entertaining episode though, and that's exactly how I felt about it too.
Yeah, it was entertaining. It just, man, I wish they would have made it between, Monica and Kelly and built up Kelly a little bit, just so we're sitting there. Oh my God, is Monica getting a blindside? I have no idea. This is great. This is great. Almost like watching Kelly finding the idol in the premiere. Like, oh my gosh, is she gonna get it? Is she gonna get it? You're at the edge of your seat. They really missed an opportunity there.
Yeah, they definitely did. Giovanni Oriana, I really can't talk. Do you think Kimmy just wanted Monica out because she didn't like her? I think that had a huge part to play in it. I think Kimmy was irritated more by what Monica was saying this time.
Yeah, I mean, let's say on the original Bion, they had to go, and I don't know who her best friend on that tribe was, but let's say, it was Cass. And Cass says, hey, Kimmy, like, what do you think about a female alliance? Yeah, she probably doesn't, take it as badly. So I think it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. What made you guys want to do the podcast in the first place? It's also from Giovanni. I guess it was because we were trying to promote ourselves at the beginning, but I made a really pathetic attempt with a friend of mine on a website that I had been doing for a while, like writing articles for. And me and my friend made a really pathetic attempt at podcasting. And then Will was like, hey, man, I know I haven't talked to you in like almost a year, but do you want to do the podcast? I'll do it. Because my other friend was like sketchy on it. And I thought that it could work if we actually like kept up with it. And look what happened. I
mean, I saw you post on Facebook, and I was like, wait, you watched Survivor, let alone like you have a whole podcast about it? So I said, I just want to come on for an episode, and then you're like, we stopped doing it. And I said, oh, let's pick it back up.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. The next question is for you, Will. What's your favorite season of Survivor? That's from Giovanni Oriana, too. We've been getting a lot from him. I'm assuming he hasn't watched our season rankings.
He has not. You have to check those out. Should I say?
Keep people watching. No, keep people watching. No, I mean, you can just say it. The guy celebrated a birthday yesterday. You might as well just say what season it is.
It's changing all the time, but Amazon is just like the best. I love it. I love Amazon. Yeah. There's always like just so many great characters, so many great moments.
Giovanni's got the next two as well. Do you think Overrated Joe is finally starting to have a strategy with forming his 5-person alliance? I mean, I think tonight was a really good episode for Joe. I think he's showing that he's really trying to think as opposed to just being like, damn, I'll make the merge and then win all the challenges.
Yeah, I mean, he said exactly what was wrong with this game last time and kind of tried to correct it. We don't know how it works, but yeah.
Yeah, and then from the same guy, this is a little different. Isn't it funny Steven scored a point for Anchor and didn't get accused for helping them out after Jeff had tried to talk to Kelly? So I'm assuming he's talking about how Jeff got yelled at for trying to help. I think this was just Steven being a huge klutz. That's why.
Yeah. And why would Steven want to help that tribe out anyway? I mean, exactly. I guess it's pretty clear that Tasha and Savage have taken control of that tribe, seeing as, PG and Varner go back to back. But yeah, it was so obvious that Steven just kind of, messed up, goofed.
Yeah. Brian Johnson, with PG gone, I'm rooting for Sierra. However, she's not getting a lot of screen time. I'm so worried about this. What are your thoughts on Sierra so far? I think you and me had her right in the middle. In the 5-5-5 thing, we both had her in the hunt. But I think we had her right in the middle where it was like she could win. But, God, there's 7 people with a better chance and 7 people with a worse chance. I think she is like smack in the middle of this game, and it has a lot to do with her edit so far.
Yeah, we know she's a great player. The only thing saving her, and we bring this up a lot on this All-Star season, is that Amber and Sandra both got very weak edits early on in their season. So, if you're a female on the season struggling to get airtime, all is not lost.
Yeah. Giovanni Oriano again. Can we make an assumption that all of Takeo won't win? The only one who has a chance is Wentworth. That's what I think, but Will says Cass is a contender.
Cass is a contender. I don't know what show you're watching.
I think she's close. Like I said, I mean, we had to do it 5-5-5. Cassie's right there. She's right there. I think Wu has a better chance right now. I don't know. Maybe when we get halfway through, I'll be like, wow, there's only one person who can even win this game, which is probably what's going to happen.
Spencer, if that's going to happen.
That can happen. That's pretty much what happened with Cochran and Caramel.
See, I want Spencer to win. Like, I'm rooting for him to win. But if they're going to make this like a Mike thing, then it's just it's just a bore.
It's more Cochran on me right now. I feel like
I know. I just making it so. I think in Cochran at least, yeah, it's kind of that redemption storyline, which is similar. I'm talking about in terms of making it just excruciatingly obvious, like with Mike.
Well, but I guess my thing is at this point in Worlds Apart, I don't think we could have sat there and said 9 people are still technically in the hunt. I know we had to put a 10th, but like I think those other 9 are really in the hunt, and I think that 6 people have a really, really, really good chance to win this game still. So like in Worlds Apart, I don't think we were at that, with a quarter of the way through the season, and I don't think we were at that with Caramoan either. I think in Caramoan you had 3 people left who could win.
Right.
So by this point. So I think this has been really well edited. I just don't understand what they did tonight by not giving Wigglesworth anything.
That was a big editing. Give the editors credit for last episode for making us think Bayan could lose the challenge. But this episode, they dropped the ball.
Yeah. Giovanni Oriana, again, do you think the Andrew-Steven feud will let the Takeo members have a shot to last once the merge hits? I think the Takeo members will be down in numbers at the merge. So do you think that if Bayan and Takeo merge and it's 5-5 and then, the 4 Anchor come walking in or 3 Anchor or whatever left, do you think this Andrew and Steven thing actually does come to a head?
It's hard to say with what these numbers you're putting out. You're talking about 5 of the current Bayan, 5 of the current Takeo.
I guess that's what they're talking about. I don't really know.
That's the thing, because they only had 2 episodes on their original tribes. It's like, who knows where these numbers are going to shake out. It's going to go from 2 to 3 to 2. It's anyone's guess at this point. It really is hard to say. Do I think Steven and Savage, is that story going to have an ending? Yeah. They didn't set it up for no reason.
Yeah. Julio Lowe, I saw this coming, especially after Monica and Spencer's conversation last week. I feel like they should have given Monica more airtime, but at least we are finally seeing something from Kimmy. Does this mean we could be in for a Bayan loss next week? Man, I'm telling you, I think that we are going to go back right to 2 tribes almost after the first commercial break next week. I think what's going to end up happening, and this is completely guessing, but I think this is almost going to be like an Eric thing from Caramoan, where as soon as the episode starts, somebody gets pulled right from the game.
Yeah, and even if because we see in the preview, there's Jeff visits camp. I'm going to get fantasy points for that because I got Jeff Probst on my team.
Damn.
Right? So I think they're going to get that out of the way early. But the problem with that is, what if that night is like night 2? When do they switch tribes then?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, when are they actually going to switch to tribes? And I know that we're getting into a lot of these questions here where they're actually asking about that. Like, the next question was from Harold Rice. Do you think some will be medevac, then some will be voted out, then at 14 there will be 2 tribes?
That would be 13, though.
Yeah, that would be 13. Exactly. So there has to be something that happens next week other than somebody getting medevac. I mean, they need a 2-boot episode anyway. Somebody has to go along with this medevac / quit / whatever the hell you end up wanting to call it when it's all said and done.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'm sure if there is a tribe swap next episode, no, they can't, I don't think it will be revealed, because then it will reveal like who is medevaced or who quits or something.
That's true. I don't know what they're going to focus on here. This is going to be tricky with what they do coming up. Maybe we won't be these spoilers. Yeah.
These power rankings are going to be crazy because it's just like, who knows?
Yeah. Alejandro Baramuerto, I thought Keith had an alliance with Josh and Jeremy last season. Was he ever aligned with Josh? I know he was kind of with Jeremy, but then he really wasn't. He was aligned with Reed at some point, and then he blew that.
I think Keith was referring to Jeremy last season, like when he said, 2 people will get you somewhere, or maybe he's just referring to Wes. That's probably what it is.
Probably, yeah.
Wes was out there with him, and that's 2 people. It's like, can't get anything done with 2 people. With 5, you can, get all the way to the end. So I think that's what he was referring to.
Okay, let's see here. Oh my God. D6 comedy. I already got to this. Phil, you say Monica was playing the game. Where and when? I don't see it. I
I
thought she
didn't
was
see it
playing.
either, but we didn't see it. But that doesn't mean they're not playing.
Yeah, but I also thought that, I mean, what we did see from her in the last two episodes was strategy. And that to me means that she was playing the game. She just ended up playing it once again too hard, where she was like, well, let's keep this girls thing together. If you're telling me that Monica wasn't playing the game when she's worried about keeping a girls alliance together, she can get further in the game. And she's trying to get rid of Spencer so that she still keeps the Bion together. I mean, if you're telling me, and she doesn't like Spencer, if you're telling me she wasn't playing the game, I don't know what you were watching last week and this week. I really don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
she played herself out of the game.
yeah, it's like, yeah, she wasn't this huge character, but she was playing. It's not like she got voted out for being, weak at challenges and like think she was, in good and didn't try. I mean, she got voted out for, trying too hard.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's playing the game. Jean Robert, what are some of your favorite Survivor villains? These are the broader questions. I mean, they were all on Heroes versus Villains, and then Shane.
I like Corinne a lot. I really like Corinne, especially in Gabon. I love Randy. I love Kenny. I love Gabon. I'll just say anyone on Gabon who can be considered a villain, I'm a fan of.
I would say probably Courtney by far, number one, far and away.
Courtney's
I guess
great.
if Tyson's considered a villain, I love Tyson, but I don't really consider him a villain. I just consider him like a sarcastic like douche. Like I also don't consider Coach a villain, but he's on Heroes versus Villains. Randy is fantastic. I mean, Gabon Randy is one of the most entertaining characters like ever. The show.
Oh, I like Heroes vs. Villains Randy a lot better.
Well, that was funny too, but I mean,
I'm kidding.
Short. It was so short. It was still funny when he like got up so angry and just like threw his buff in the fire. I mean, it was such a short stay on Heroes vs. Villains, but yeah, I mean, those two definitely pop out. I think Cass is great as a villain. Like I think she's like a really, really good villain. I don't know, like I like her, but this season I do.
The winner.
The winner. I mean, it's hard to say when you're put on the spot like that because you actually got to think about it. But those are just the ones that come up. I mean, I know they've all played more than one time. I mean, Shane is really the villain who is like, how has he never played the game again? Because Shane was a fantastic villain.
Let's not go there. It's too sad.
It's too depressing. D6 comedy. I think we know why Pro's on the island. So what you guys said is true. Then they merge at 14. Does that mean no tribal next week? I don't know what they're going to do next.
It's not a merge. It's just that they're switching tribes.
Yeah, he says that later. He says didn't mean merge, meant swap.
Oh, okay. And then we've said this a lot too. This is a cast that started with 20 people. You got to get episodes where they knock out multiple people. Mm-hmm. So I think at least 2 people are going home this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a prime opportunity, especially if it's going to happen right at the first night. I think they edited it so that whoever goes,
But that's the problem with you can't edit like a tribe.
That's true. They really can't. Yeah.
So let's say it happens like night 2. Unless they switch tribes, but they can't switch tribes until
I don't know.
Whoever is gone. So,
yeah, this is going to be tricky next week. I'm looking forward to it. It should be interesting.
I'm sure they figure
somebody has to get pulled like this, though. For those who know, it is a shame that this is going to happen. But Ezekiel Oldring, I am a new subscriber, and I want to know, are you guys brothers? We are not. Thanks for subscribing, though.
Thank you.
Somebody subscribe. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. We're not brothers, though.
Everyone follow Ezekiel's Oldring's lead of subscribling. I don't have red hair. I'm not his brother.
You kind of look like redheaded in some of these, though. People have always said that.
A little bit. It's not, though.
And then Giovanni Oriano, what was the first season of Survivor that you saw? Mine was Nicaragua. Poor guy coming in on Nicaragua. That's terrible. I didn't see number 1 first. I saw season 2 first. I didn't watch season 1 until a couple years ago. I watched season 2 first, and I didn't even see Deb get booted. I actually didn't come in until after episode 2. My mom made me watch it. She's like, "You're gonna watch this because it's family time." I was like, "I guess."
I'll be honest. I started watching the season 1 finale, so I can still say since season 1.
That's true.
But I watched season 1 finale, then I watched up until All Stars, and then I took a pretty big break and then came back for Cook Islands, and then after that, I ended up rewatching all the seasons I had missed in
Oh
between.
God, you missed a good streak there. I mean,
I
9,
know.
10. Guatemala's okay. It's underrated, and I mean, Panama is great. I mean, those are 4 like really really good seasons.
Yeah,
in a
but
row there.
once Fans vs. Favorites was announced, and I figured,
Yeah, you
wow,
had
I
to.
gotta catch. That's when I decided, hey, I gotta go catch up. So it wasn't that long.
Yeah. D6 comedy. Phil, Sierra is the best female strategist on Takeo. For what? Not knowing she was on the bottom of Reliance on her season, voting out her mother. What she didn't have to when she didn't have to, bro.
She did have to.
She didn't have to. She didn't actually vote for her mother. That was a good move, though, to pretend that she did vote for her mother, but it was a good move to go with the alliance there. I mean, Sierra was playing really hard in Blood vs. Water, man. Like, she was like a threat really deep in that game. Her and Hayden, like, if they could have just broken in, I mean, Jervis really didn't know what the hell was going on, and that really hurt Hayden and Sierra. And the fact that I guess the Water tribe, I don't even know what they would be. The non-returnee tribe was like really bad. Like they were like a mess. But I thought I think Sierra's a great strategist. I don't really remember exactly what she did in Heroes vs. Villains because I haven't seen it in a while. But
she has the best moments when she's talking with Katie.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah.
And Katie's like, I have the idol, and Sierra's like, no, you don't. I do. And Katie's like, oh my God, you do? Where'd you find it? And it was just a big lie. The willing to go to rocks is always fun. I mean, if that turns out her way, she's in the numbers, she can, win the game. I think that's what it is mainly. It's not even what place you get. It's like, could you have won that game if you had just survived a couple, like if one thing had gone your way? And I think for Sierra, the answer is yes. So, Jarvis and Monica, they got to final tribal council. But
that final 3 could have easily been Sierra, Hayden, Katie. Easily could have been the final 3.
And I don't know who wins out of Sierra Hayden. So
exactly. Total drama Survivor fan. I bet Russell Hantz is going to love watching this episode of Survivor. Wouldn't you agree? I think this is the guy who said that Russell was like promoting Monica before the season.
Of course. Yeah, he just wants everyone to remember Samoa forever. It's the best.
This is definitely probably the last time I wouldn't say definitely, but this is probably the last time we ever see somebody from Samoa on the show.
It's Shambo in there.
I doubt it. I don't think she wants to. Okay, D6 comedy. Wu is the episode's MVP, wins the challenge for Anchor, possibly saving himself, plus the confessional about his mom. Yeah, we got to do MVP this week because we forgot last week.
Having a confessional about your mom, that is not that doesn't no confessional contributes to MVP, really, unless you're explaining some strategic move or decision in the game.
Yeah, I still say Wu is MVP. That's who I'm nominating for my little team here. I think that he had just had a great episode. We've talked about it a lot. You say Kimmy because you thought she had a really good episode. At least that would be.
Who else is on my tribe? I mean, maybe Spencer for not even getting targeted at all. How about Spencer?
I would say Spencer for you because Tasha and Sierra didn't really do much. Jeremy, I guess, was okay. And
if Spencer is there in that first reward challenge doing the balls the whole time, they probably win because he came back really quickly. So you got to give him credit for the challenge. He was not even threatened by going home. He decided to not be paranoid. He decided to be cool, play it nice. He caught a fish, however small it was. He did catch a fish, and he's doing well. Go Spencer.
Yeah. So then let's just finish up with the comments here. Oh yeah, LVP. Somebody vote for that too. I don't even know who it would be. I really don't.
Abby. Just give it to Abby.
Yeah, give it to Abby every week that we don't know.
She irritated Tasha so much that she's like, I can't live with her. Like, I probably need to vote her out.
True.
I mean, I don't know if she went that far saying that, but it really seemed that way. So it's like you're calling out Wu on his story and you're talking about your knee and I don't even know what she was going on about. Not a good night for Abby.
And then Dylan Peddle has 2 comments back to back. It's really great to have an episode where a good amount of it is not dedicated to Abby. And then
agreed.
Agreed. And then if Joe does what he said and aligns himself with a good amount of people, then I think he can make it pretty far in this season. He's great at challenges and he's also really likable. I think that's always the thing. If he can get in an alliance, I mean, we saw Malcolm finish, 4th place because he got in a good alliance. So if you can just get in the alliance, you can make it far, no matter how much of a threat you are to win challenges or how likable you are. And then last comment of the night, Mark Dean, he says Cass over Will. And I guess that can end this podcast with Willie having a huge smile on his face.
I mean, I agree. With what's his name, Mark Dean?
Mark Dean.
There you go.
Yeah. So there's our really long episode 5 podcast. I mean, that was really long. It'll be interesting on the predictions episode coming up. Since we kind of know who's going to get pulled, and by kind of, I mean we 100% know who's going to get pulled. I guess listen accordingly. We'll definitely not spoil things. Like if we we'll try not to, but I mean we're going to be doing our power rankings.
Yeah, let's give a full warning now on our power rankings prediction episode that we'll do Sunday. We are going to say we do know who is short for this game, and we'll be leaving next episode. So if you don't want to know it, don't listen. And I think most people know it already. It's all over the internet. It was out before the season started. So, I mean, I didn't even want to know it. Just kind of.
I mean, there's T-shirts.
There are T-shirts involved. I'm learning about this now.
Yeah,
but
there's a whole foundation. It's pretty nuts.
All right. So if you made it this far to into this podcast, we thank you for listening. And especially if you're this far in, you weren't listening on accident. So please subscribe to the channel. We will see you Sunday. You got anything else, Phil?
Nope, that's it. See you Sunday.